Welcome back. Here we are again. And here comes Lucy.
We'll be making pinwheels.
That's right. We're going to be
sometimes don't work.
And sometimes we have a little trouble with our wind, but we're going to be taking our crafts outside today. So we're going to be working on making some sunflowers and also some things for hopefully the plants that you're getting in the ground. And also, of course, a few pinwheels, as Lucy was showing us. And these are all so that we can take these out to a neighbor's and put them in their, maybe a potted plant that's on their porch. Or maybe we could do that with a sunflower if they don't have anything coming up yet. And of course, we're hoping that we might be able to put some plants in the ground that we can at some point share with our neighbors as well. So with those outdoor projects in mind, let's get started. So we can use that square paper. That's the most important piece that we want to do first. And if you remember, you can take a regular piece of paper, just a normal size piece of paper, and fold it so that you have an angle, a line from top to bottom. And when you do it that way, you can take off that top part, and that way you'll end up with a square. That wasn't the best description ever, but
I already have a square.
You do. That's right. So if you do it that way, you can just take this part off and you will end up with a square. Or if you're lucky enough to have a square to start with, that's great too. But again, this can be done with good old-fashioned construction paper, wonderful origami paper if you have it. Or even a really fun thing to do is just with that, something from a magazine, something colorful and bright also works. But with that, you just need to, again, make it into that square. And once you get the square made, then you can use that paper. So I'm going to start with what we have since it's simple. I'm going to start with that wonderful paper here. But again, this is made out of the magazine paper and it works just as well. We're trying to give you options so that anything that you have in your household you can use to make those. So that starts with your paper. You're going to need paper. You're also going to need something to stick in the ground. That can be a pencil if you'd like to use a pencil. That can be a stick. It can also be a wonderful bamboo skewer if you have some in your drawers from grilling.
Popsicle stick.
Or a popsicle stick. Any of those things will work. I'm going to stick with the bamboo skewer just because it's what's easiest for me.
Oh, one thing to add. In the part where we start putting the buttons through here, parental help is suggested.
That's right. There are a couple of steps that are a little easier with extra hands. So now what we're going to do is look at our piece of paper and we're going to, sort of like what we did with origami, we're going to fold it in half so that we are making a line to go through the center. So fold it in half to make a diamond or a triangle. So I fold it in half this way. And I'm going to do the exact same thing so that I can have another line. I'm basically creating an X. So that
fortune teller.
Or a fortune teller. Yeah, Lucy is great at fortune tellers. So if you young folks out there know about the fortune tellers,
look up another video. We may do this in a future episode.
That's right. So then you can make an X and you can see where your center is at. Once you know where your center is at, we're going to try to make basically a little spot in the center so that we know how far to cut to make these blades. What we're going to do is use our rulers. And with that ruler, on these smaller pieces of paper, I found that about
1.5 inches.
1.5 inches is great. What you'll want to do when you look at a bigger sheet is probably increase that to about 2 inches from the center. But I have to be honest with you, I've really just kind of done it by eye. So you're basically wanting to make sure that it's the same all the way around. And the difference in how far it is mostly going to just change the size of your, what they call blades or sails on your pinwheel. So we are just going around in a circle and marking those 1/2 of an inch from the center. And what you'll see then is I have these little dots marked.
Advised, you should not use orange marker on red.
Orange marker on red is not a good idea. But I bet your eyes can do it. I'm gonna reach across Lucy and grab myself a wonderful scissors, and I'm gonna slice right down the sides all the way up to that spot.
Slice, dice, chop, puree.
Right, so I'm following those lines that I created by folding the paper, because otherwise I am very bad at cutting in a straight line. But those folds really help. I'm cutting all the way down those lines. And
don't cut past the dot, just cut to the dot.
Right to the dot is the best spot. Once we have those done, ta-da, we're gonna use, and this is again, you can use lots of different ways to do this. I like to use a little hole puncher. It makes it easier, but you can also use a sharp pointy object that I found in our junk drawer. Or you can use the tip of the
hole punch.
Okay, you take the hole punch. You can use the tip of a skewer. You can use pretty much anything you want to just make a little bit of a hole. If I was using this little guy, I'm gonna have to just be a little bit gentler as I do it. And again, you just wanna be able to make a hole in the center. Like that. Now that I have a hole in the center, you got it. That'll work just fine. No worries. What I'm going to do next, and this is the thing that kind of was hard for me to figure out, but you have a flat piece of paper and it says to put a hole in the right corner of each of these. So that would be this corner, this corner, this corner, this corner. We go around it and just put a hole in the right edge. Lucy's going to do hers.
Chagunk.
You want to make sure that that hole is far enough down that you basically have a little triangle at the top. So my hole's going to end up being right in the middle there. So I'm going to take the twist tie and just thread it through the button so that I end up with the twist tie coming out. That's what, Lucy's over there doing the hard part. So once I have that done, do this beforehand.
No.
You're going to line up just like Lucy is doing. Line up each of those holes with the center hole. Just not the easiest thing to do.
And don't squish them down.
And don't squish them down, that's right. Leave them kind of open so that you can still have the ability to...
Help.
Got it? Okay. So once I've got them all together, Lucy is holding hers, and I'm going to try to lift mine up so you can see it. So now I've got it together, and I'm going to take my button, or her, she's got hers right there, and put it through that hole. Once it comes through, then I just give it a nice turn. Okay, give me 2 seconds, Lucy. Just hold yours steady.
Hold on.
And I grab my stick. Keep that open. Put the stick on the back of it. Oh, actually, you know what? I forgot. We have to put the other button on. Oops. I always forget the other button. And she's going to have another blue bead.
Blue bead. Hurry, my fingers are getting tired.
I know. Okay, now that I have the other button on, then I can do the thing I was going to do, which is put on the stick.
I will be using a popsicle stick.
And I just twist it like that so that it gets nice and tight. And ta-da! It's done. It's a little bit, looks like it's hard, but once you've done it once or twice, you'll figure it out.
Well, once you start with this, you might say to yourself,
Hold on.
why did they make it look so easy?
And then I just twist it.
And
Hopefully it works. We have to play with it a little bit. Okay. And you have your pinwheels. Again, once you mess with them a little bit, you'll get them
they'll
to
loosen up.
find the loosen up the spots that you need.
Make sure that they don't stay still for too long.
Most important is you can take them to your neighbors and put them outside or put them outside your yard just to bring a little color and brightness to these times. Thank you all.
Welcome back. We are going to talk about some signage for our garden. One of the great things about these are it's used some simple materials and they're waterproof to an extent. Obviously you don't want to soak them, but they will last through a rain. I'm using a piece of paper that's about 3 by 1.5, and the idea is that with these I'm going to simply draw the vegetable or fruit that I'm growing and then I'm going to put the word on it, and then I'm going to sort of waterproof it. You see some examples here. We have peas, potatoes, carrots, strawberries, onions. I've planted a lot of tomatoes, so I'm going to go ahead and make a tomato. If you want to draw it with pencil first, you can, and then outline it. I'm going to just make my tomato, starting off with something that's sort of round. And I'm going to make some spiky triangles there for that top part. Make a little stem, and there we go. Up top, I want to make sure that I know what I've planted before it comes up. When you're ready to start coloring it in, you can use whatever you like for color. I find colored pencils are kind of nice for this. One of the great things about labeling your rows, especially as some of the plants look similar, but it really helps later on if you put also the variety. So you could put what it is on top and then the variety down below. That way you'll know what it is and when to expect it to grow. I'm ready now to make it into a more waterproof. So I'm going to use a little bit of packing tape. I'm going to lay it down right on top. Do your best to center it, but we can always trim it up later. Now that it's sealed in there, I have some excess on the bottom and the top, so just make a little trim that way. Now if I'm ready, I'll go ahead, get a little bit of the Scotch tape. You could glue it on, but it takes longer for it to dry. And if you're anxious to get that garden set, this is a real nice, easy way to get that started. And then you're ready to go. The great thing is, if you don't feel comfortable drawing, maybe you have a seed catalog that has a bunch of fun pictures in it. You can obviously use those. You're basically going to be doing the same thing. If you find the variety of tomato or other vegetable that you're using, you can clip that out and glue it down onto the paper. If I'm continuing with my tomato theme here, I have not only a picture of it, but I also have a descriptor. The one issue with taking it from the catalog is the sun will fade the picture rather rapidly. So it's a good idea to make sure that you have not only it written up top, but also the variety on the bottom as well. Same thing for taping it down, and you'll have stakes to put in the garden, so you can make your victory garden and share your bounty with your neighbors. Thank you.
So here we are starting with our other outside projects. This is the one that Lucy made. It's beautiful.
Ta-da!
And it has a vase attached to it, so it's kind of like a Van Gogh flower. These are part of a project that we did a long time ago, but we are bringing them back out so that we can celebrate some sunflowers to share with our neighbors.
You may decorate your vase if you wish.
You may decorate your vase if you wish, or you may leave without a vase, and this again can be something that's planted outside. Let's get started. What we're gonna do is cut out some yellow circles, which I've got everything cut now, so this is pretty simple. And if you need a template for these, glad to provide them. I actually have the template for the vase. Looks like this, and a template that goes along with it so that you can just add it together like that.
Can I tackle it up?
Go ahead, Lucy.
So can I have the tape?
Yep.
So on the back, see, you want to tape it on the back before you use the glue.
That's right.
I don't know why, but it just works better.
Glue gets everything wet.
And now for the big petals. For the big petals, you choose about 7. You could do less or more. And you could, if you wanted to curl them with a pencil.
How do you curl them?
With a pencil, like roll them up. Next you use, I guess these are small petals. And then you can curl those two. And you put a circle, I used the wrong one. Put another, whoa! Do not use a bottle this open. And then you put another circle in the center of the big petals. And then you do the same thing. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
Just getting our little
Tick-tock,
little
tick-tock,
petals set.
tick-tock, boom. And now for the seeds. If you have seen our actual sunflower, you will know that they have seeds. For that, we shall use the tissue paper. And you can use brown or black or both. And you make a little circle around with the glue. And then you can like put small circles with the tissue paper and make them smaller and smaller until you get to the center.
We're gonna roll up these guys. When you want to roll them over, I like to roll them. You can just roll them, use a pencil to kind of roll the paper up, and it gives it a little bit more texture. We're making these very quickly, so you can always take a little more time at home and then...
This will be sped up. This will be sped up. Okay, so you have a very long stem, and if you want to, you can add leaves. And these ones are better used with the tape. And as many leaves it could have. Maybe a small wee one with only one leaf, or a great big one, like a great big hairy leafy one. And
There we go.
Sunflower. Or you may also like glue on the base or decorate it. So, ta-da! Wait. Dun, 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 dun.
Bring joy to your neighbors. It's a great way of doing it.
Can you speed this up in the editing?